join me here today at Moneypenny's fantastic Wrexham headquarters, and I'm here with none other than property industry legend, Mr. Chris Watkin. How are you doing, sir?
It's very kind, and thank you for saying those things, but I'm not a legend. I'm just a humble servant of the industry.
I know a legend when I see one. Chris, you have spent an immense amount of time speaking to agents and people involved in and around agency. And if you could distill that down to perhaps a little bit of advice for anybody that's thinking of starting out on their estate agency career, they're thinking about getting into it, what do they need to know before they get started?
People do business with people they trust. And I think the important thing is that estate agents themselves generally are very good at talking about themselves. And if you talk about yourself, no one will become interested in you, because we've all been to the party and someone talks about themselves all night. But all human relationships are based that if you're interested in someone else first, they become interested in you. Once they become interested in you, they get to know you, then they get to like you, then they trust you. That's how all human relationships work. And estate agency is no different to any other sales business. You have to build a relationship and build up trust. And you can build up that trust without meeting someone, because the ultimate problem with estate agency is being called out for a free valuation. And if you are, to give you an idea, back in 2006 there was 9,500 estate agents and they sold 1.4 million houses. Last year, 22,000 estate agents sold 1.5 million properties. So if you work your sums out, the number of agents has almost tripled, but we've only sold the same amount of properties, which meant that there's too much choice. And if you're an estate agent, you're going to be called out for one of those estate agents for the valuation, if not the only one. The best way to do that is build up trust before they call you out. So when they do call you out, you're the only agent there.
Superb. So really there is an absolute parity then between seeming knowledgeable and trust.
Knowledgeable is one thing. I think it really comes down to is you have to be interesting to the other person for them to be interested in you. And one thing that is of interest to most homeowners is the value of their own home. So therefore, one thing you can talk about is the value of their own home or what's happening to property prices in their town. But just as important is to talk about other things that they're interested in. So if you lived in, say, Whitchurch, why don't you go and interview people in Whitchurch about their love of Whitchurch? And you're going to say, what the hell is that to do with selling houses? Nothing, but 100% of owner-occupiers, which are homeowners in Whitchurch, live in Whitchurch. If you talk about Whitchurch to people in Whitchurch and put it into, say, like Whitchurch Facebook groups, because I would hazard a guess that the vast majority of the 6,000 people in the Whitchurch Facebook live in
Whitchurch?
No shit, there you go. And 100%.
I'm not from Whitchurch, by the way.
Okay. And all of your homeowners live in Whitchurch. So yes, talk about the property market, but talk about other things like interviewing the butcher, the candlestick maker, the shopkeeper, the local coffee shop, and just be interested in what other people are interested in, and then they will become interested in you. That would be my number one. And knowledge is important, but as one aspect of many things.
There seems to be a tension in the industry at the moment between sort of brand presence and individual presence. We see a lot of agents that are trading in their own name. The EXP model is tremendously popular. Do you feel that there's a shift in that direction? And what would be your advice to sort of agency owners at the moment who are looking to encourage their staff to step forward, but they're worried about fueling the fire there in terms of them leaving?
Let's be frank, there is, if you could have the best of both worlds, a great personal brand working under a great company brand, you've got the best of both worlds. I was talking to one of London's biggest estate agents. They have in excess of 10 branches in London, and he said to me, Chris, I need the magic weapon to get inside more doors, to actually get more valuations. And I said, what you're going to have to do is let your staff have their own personality, their own that personal brand is an awful phrase, reputation, but being a face of their firm, working under your amazing brand. And his concern was, well then they're going to become the face of my firm. and then they're going to have all the power. And I said, that's where the shift in the business is going to be, is what the hell are you going to do to keep those people in your business? And I think you're going to have the bosses are going to be less I'm your boss to more of a collaborative, we're in it together. And the bosses that kind of get that quicker are going to be the ones that succeed. So yes, to answer your question, both is great, because you can have both, you're the winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Christopher Watkin. Thank you.
Thank you, David.